You can be standing in a room full of people who would call themselves your friends, and still feel entirely alone. You can be surrounded, yet completely disconnected. It is an isolating experience, yet it is incredibly common. Right now, 1 in 3 adults regularly experiences this exact form of isolation. There is a distinct difference between solitude and isolation. You can be by yourself and feel perfectly at peace, but feeling a hollow, unexplainable ache while standing in a group is something else entirely. Researchers like the late psychologist John Casciabo spent decades studying this state. They defined it as perceived social isolation. It isn't a head count of the people in your proximity. It is the painful gap between the social connection you currently have and the connection you actually want. This vacuum exists in 3 distinct layers. Intimate isolation is the absence of a close confidant who truly knows you. Relational isolation is the lack of a satisfying friendship circle. And collective isolation is missing a sense of broader community or shared purpose. Because this feeling stems from a lack of being understood, no amount of surface-level interaction will fix it. We optimized modern life for convenience, substituting deep interaction with infinite scrolling and a steady stream of likes, which fails to satisfy the human need to be known. Most people treat this feeling as a passing bad mood, but scientists at the University of Chicago found that it operates as a primal, urgent biological signal. Your body uses it exactly like hunger or thirst, a warning that you are missing something essential for survival. Ignoring that signal for long enough initiates a quiet, systemic deterioration throughout the body. The epidemiological data is striking. Chronic isolation increases the risk of early death by 26. That makes it a greater health risk than obesity, and equivalent to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. This shifts the scope from a private struggle to a declared public health crisis. In 2023, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy formally categorized loneliness as an epidemic, signaling that society is misdiagnosing a lethal biological threat. This functional MRI visualization compares a brain experiencing physical pain to one experiencing social exclusion. The activation centers overlap perfectly. Notice the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and anterior insula. Your nervous system cannot distinguish between taking a physical punch and being left out. When a person feels chronically isolated, the brain interprets this as an ongoing threat to survival and triggers an immediate, sustained stress response. This initiates a cascade of physical symptoms. Cortisol stays permanently elevated, systemic inflammation rises, the immune system weakens, and sleep quality severely degrades. To protect itself, the brain adapts through hypervigilance. It becomes permanently tuned to scan every room for signs of social threat or rejection. This evolutionary defense mechanism tragically backfires. A survival instinct designed to keep you safe turns into an internal prison, making the outside world feel constantly hostile, even when it isn't. This flowchart outlines how hypervigilance traps individuals in the loneliness loop. It begins when the brain misinterprets neutral social cues as direct threats. A delayed text reply is viewed as definitive rejection, and a distracted friend becomes evidence that nobody cares. Expecting to be excluded, the behavioral response is to instinctively retreat. People start staying home, canceling plans, and telling themselves they are perfectly fine alone. A deep stigma complicates this retreat. In a society that praises popularity, isolated people often feel forced to perform loud, artificial happiness online while quietly struggling in private. The architecture of modern life accommodates this perfectly. The rise of remote work and infinite scrolling provide a frictionless landscape for social withdrawal. The lonely brain actively engineers its own isolation. It creates a cruel self-fulfilling prophecy where we push away the very connections we need to survive. The science reveals exactly how to break this cycle, shifting the focus entirely from the quantity of friends to the quality of connection. The Harvard study of adult development, which spans over 80 years, produced a clear finding. A single, deeply authentic relationship is the strongest predictor of longevity and happiness. It outperforms wealth, success, and fame. sociologist Mark Granovetter also identified the power of weak ties. Casual, low-stakes interactions, like exchanging a few words with a barista or waving to a neighbor, provide a crucial sense of belonging without demanding emotional vulnerability. Another highly effective solution is contribution. Studies show that mentoring or volunteering resets the mental loop. It proves to the hypervigilant brain that you matter to someone else. Escaping the loop does not require becoming an extrovert or filling your calendar with social events. It simply requires finding a few specific places where you are authentically known and genuinely useful. The final step is often the most difficult. To break the cycle, you have to bypass your brain's hypervigilance and be the one to go first. You have to deliberately initiate connection and admit feeling disconnected out loud. That painful ache of loneliness serves as biological proof that your internal systems are functioning exactly as they should. Your body is actively demanding the human connection it evolved to need. You can bypass your own threat detection system today by reaching out to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is show up for someone before they even have to ask. The ultimate cure for this modern epidemic lies in the raw, terrifying courage to let yourself be truly seen.